All right, welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Everyday World with Bobby Runout. Today we're starting to walk down of Broadway Ave. You might be wondering, why am I not at the Bull in Battery Park City, or like in the Bronx, or at the bridge into the Bronx, where Broadway Avenue enters? Man, the answer is simple. The answer is that the Broadway Avenue I'm talking about is the one in Brooklyn. The Brooklyn Broadway, which is also a very big deal. Now, here's the deal. I'm actually in Manhattan right now because Broadway Avenue in Brooklyn starts basically from, or ends at, depending on your perspective, but the west terminus is, and I hope I don't turn out to be wrong about this, but it's when you cross the Williamsburg Bridge, this bridge, into Brooklyn from Manhattan. When you finish crossing the bridge, unsurprisingly, you're in Williamsburg, and you are on Broadway Avenue, pretty much. So I thought it would be cool to start the walk by actually, crossing the bridge, which is like one of the major bridges of New York City, of course, alongside the world famous Brooklyn Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge, which goes from Chinatown to, where the hell does it enter Brooklyn? I don't even know, honestly, really. But and then you got the Verrazano Bridge between Staten Island and Brooklyn. You've got, additionally, the Bayonne Bridge between Staten Island and Bayonne in New Jersey. You got the Edward, I think, Koch Bridge between Manhattan and Queens. That goes over Roosevelt Island. You got the another famous one is the Hell Gate Bridge, and that goes from Astoria in Queens to, honestly, I don't even really know where. I need to find that out. So there are a fuck ton of bridges, is what I'm trying to say. It's not just Williamsburg Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, Brooklyn Bridge, or sometimes people even only know the Brooklyn Bridge. Listen, no shade. If you don't live in New York, of course, why would you know any of these bridges? You might know the Brooklyn Bridge is the only one, because it's all the postcards and stuff, but it's the other ones are just not that famous. But, now you know. Or at least, now you've heard the information. Yeah, so you can get a sense of what's happening. Here we are, we're still over Manhattan, essentially. We're not yet out over the water. And it'll be actually a while yet before we are out over the water. This is a fairly long bridge. You can see that this is a bridge that's very popular with runners and bikers. I believe the New York Marathon does not go over this bridge, but this is a bridge that, of course, features in many popular run routes, whether just it's people running on their own or run club routes. You know, there are many run clubs in New York, as you might expect, especially now with how incredibly popular running has become. And yeah, basically, you know, this is kind of a top running destination. Now I'm going to turn a little bit, give you a little bit more of a view. There we go, we're pretty high up now. And you can feel the ground shaking under your feet as you cross, as you're walking when the cars are going under. So it's incredible in a way that these bridges remain standing, given how much they move in response to the traffic that passes over them. You would think that would kind of wear out the bridge, so to speak, and I'm sure it does eventually, and then the bridge fails and everybody dies. Oh boy. Well, I guess if I die, I die. That was meant to be. Or some bullshit like that. I don't really believe in fate. Here we go. Take a picture here. All right. And just here we go. Seek discomfort. I like that. I certainly have found it. You see that? It says seek discomfort. You are... I'm not sure if that's good or bad advice, but it is advice that I have followed today, that's for sure. Have I ever followed it? Oh boy. Seek discomfort. The irony is that the more you seek discomfort, the more things you become comfortable with. So at some point, you know, you get to a point where you're comfortable with so many things that you're seeking, the only way for you to find discomfort is in things that actually should make you uncomfortable. Or rather, that should be avoided or left undone. And how do you know when you reach that point? You don't. Nobody does. The important thing, one important thing not to do while crossing a bridge is to look up the Wikipedia entry for that bridge while you're on it. Believe me. I've done this, and it's a really bad idea. Don't do it. Pretty good view, huh? I know. And the fun thing is we're not even halfway there. The irony is that even though I'm absolutely fucking terrified of bridges, I also really love them and admire them, both as incredible feats of human engineering, collaboration, and also just skill and construction, courage, determination, vision, all those things, and then also what they symbolize, what they represent. You know, the yearning that we have to explore, but also to connect, and our great ability to do so when we put our mind to it. We're actually really good at connecting when we want to do it, whether that's with each other or with the world or with other places. So Alex Honnold, when he is climbing El Capitan, and all the other people when they're climbing El Capitan, they're this high, or actually even much higher, except they're on a sheer vertical rock face with nothing to help them, nothing to save them. There isn't actually even anybody who can come up there and save them, because nobody else has the skill to do it, and the courage, or the mental illness, whatever you want to call it. The mutation, maybe. It could be that there is some kind of actual just, because, you know, there are many people who are perfectly willing and able to cross a bridge like this, like clearly I'm in a very low percentile when it comes to courage with respect to heights, or at least high percentile when it comes to amount of fear experience with respect to heights. But there are not that many people who would ever even contemplate trying to do something like would even remotely begin to consider trying to do something like what Alex Honnold did. So that does make me wonder whether it's some kind of just like rare mutation that, in addition to all of the courage and the strength he still must have, and skill, that also just allows him to kind of makes it possible for him to attempt these things. Check this out. Look at this. Look at how beautiful. What a panorama. We gotta ride that ferry. We're gonna get off this bridge before it collapses. This bridge is actually, of all of the big bridges, I would say is the least scary to cross of the three, of Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Williamsburg. I haven't tried crossing Verrazano, so I don't know what it's like over there. Or the Bayonne Bridge looks pretty scary, but it's a little smaller, I think. And the Coke Bridge and the Hellgate, all the bridges that I was naming earlier, I forgot about some of them. Anyway, I think the Williamsburg Bridge is a little bit, it's less scary, because first of all, just seeing and hearing the train going by, and I know I ride this train, that's reassuring, because I'm like, well, if the train doesn't drop, you know, if the bridge can hold the train, not just the cars. I don't drive in New York, so I I don't have this experience of crossing the bridge on a car, or haven't had it often. But the J train here, the JZ train, yes, that is why JZ is called JZ. Or the M train in this case. The M also runs on this line. That's a train that I've ridden many times. And so I'm like, okay, well, you know. So there's that. And then also a huge part of it is that this walkway that we're on is not out over the water. It's out above the cars. So it just still feels like even if you fall, at least you die by a car hitting you 40 miles an hour in the face. I don't know if that's really better than water impact, but it's less heights related, I guess. The crazy thing to me right now is that right now I feel almost comfortable, which is actually kind of surprising to me. I didn't expect at any point to feel as comfortable on the bridge as I do right now. Especially because the last few times I've tried to cross one of these big bridges, I've had to, or I've backed off, you know, on the going up part because I wasn't able to push past my fear, through my fear. So I don't know what was different about today. I'd love to understand a little bit better why today I was able to do it. But it's nice. It's nice to feel more comfortable. Maybe it's because I'm recording, but I don't know. I mean, it's like I could have just not uploaded the recording if I had, you know, decided not to cross it. And I just started it on the other side of the bridge and been like, "Hello, this is BobbyRunout's." Nobody would have been any the wiser. And nobody needs to be any wiser than you already are, you bunch of wise asses. You know, maybe part of it is that I've now worked, you know, I have a bunch of years of work experience in tech now, and so I've worked on pretty large and complex products, sometimes as a developer, sometimes as a QA guy. Now I'm like a QA manager, and you know, one thing you realize, especially when you work in QA, is that everything is buggy as shit, broken as shit. There are all kinds of problems in any system of any complexity, all kinds of unhandled edge cases or just unknown unknowns, and so it just seems like everything should constantly be collapsing, or at least like fairly frequently. But like, nope, things mostly just still work anyway. Like sometimes something will crash for a user and then they'll report it. But generally, I've just seen many complex systems like a bridge is, you know, be pretty fault tolerant. And I know the conditions even under which they're being built, these systems, right? They're being built under very imperfect conditions, a ton of pressure from an engineering point of view. There, you know, all this pressure from product to get the features out ASAP. You know, not as much time as there's never as much time as the engineers would like to build things, quote unquote, the right way, or to refactor, or to debug, or to even think through the design of the system in a future-proof way. And the people who are working on the system and building it together usually know only a small piece of the system well. They oftentimes were not even there at the company when big chunks of the system were built. It's basically impossible to have a holistic understanding of any large software program all in your head, all at the same time. I mean, if you try to do that, if you try to have that be your goal, you're never gonna have time to actually write any code. Especially with all the changes your 2-3 dozen teammates are constantly making while you're trying to grok everything. So, and of course, there's no kind of, you know, no government oversight of any kind. There's no safety standard really in any kind of serious way. There's no really serious competence certification to become, you know, a web developer in the way that there is to become a civil engineer. Kind of anybody with hustle and determination can do it. It's not even like, you know, it's even more accessible than becoming, let's say, a C++ developer, which is still accessible to anybody with enough determination. Yeah, so and yet these, you know, these hacky clusterfuck train wrecks, they mostly work. And so I guess maybe that's kind of made me not so much trust that people have built this the right way and really know what they're doing, but rather just understand that even though they probably haven't, and even though there's probably a lot of corruption and incompetence and corner cutting baked into the design and construction of an enormous infrastructure project like this bridge, it's still okay, which is wild. But you know, it's kind of it is kind of freeing to realize that it's probably also an attitude that one can take way too far very easily. I got a stone in my shoe. This is the WA Center, and it is where you go. I suppose it is somebody's real last name, and I will resist the urge to make a joke about how this is where you go when you feel like crying and feeling sorry for yourself. It wasn't easy to resist that urge, so I should get a lot of pats on the back for doing it. All right, so I was pretty much right, honestly. This is the Broadway. Okay, so I was not 100% right. It's not like Broadway flows out of the Williamsburg Bridge. But basically, we are very near the western edge of the Brooklyn edition of Broadway. And I actually I'm not sure that I've ever been down this little stretch. I know huge stretches of what we're gonna walk in this walk down are like regular haunts of mine, and you know, I walk down them dozens of times, but not here. So this is cool. A little new moment here. Uh-oh, let's see what's happening. Pardon me, there might be some kind of... Whew. Oh my goodness. Chess.com is spamming me, telling me that getting better at chess is simple. Check this out. That's sick. Look at this. It's like a real race car that somebody is using to really race. You can tell because the only way that you can afford to do it is by selling yourself to sponsors. Nobody would put these stickers on their car if they weren't trying to do it professionally. Very cool. So maybe I don't know what it's. I mean, it's GT5 or something car. Ooh. Okay. Oh, wait, no, I have been, well, yes and no. We're gonna get to the end and I'll show you why I said I have been here, because I've been to that restaurant, walked past the restaurant at the end of the avenue, but it was going north-south on the street that we're gonna run into. So, a little different. Now these benches and everything, they're gonna fill up with people come evening for sure, especially of course in the summer. Right now it's, you know, mid-December. It is actually pretty chilly. So I am wearing my thermal layer and 3 other layers. And I still feel a little bit chilly, so you can kind of extrapolate from that. I don't know what the numbers are. You know, the temperature number isn't really all that helpful in understanding what it feels like on the ground, because there's the wind, and with these streets, sometimes you get these wind tunnels that really, you know, add a little extra spice to the wind. So, but anyway, let's run a red light. Jaywalking is no longer apparently a crime or misdemeanor in the state of New York, I believe. So, eat that, vehicles. But on the other hand, apparently also riding an e-bike down a pedestrian sidewalk is not treated as a crime either, so there's that. Kind of a wash. At best. Well, we get what we deserve, because it's everybody. The only reason there are so many e-bikes on the sidewalk is because all these lazy fucks are using DoorDash instead of walking 6 blocks to the takeout joint on their own. Only losers use DoorDash on a regular basis. When you're sick, that's a good excuse, or when you're like recovering from an illness. All right, so here's the deal. Let's look at the map together real quick, and we'll kind of get a sense of what's going on. So we're here. Well, this is you, but this is me as well. It's wild. So this is the bridge that we just came over, and we came over here, and we just walked up like this, and now this is where the Mafia restaurant is, over here. And then we are going to, so we started basically on the Lower East Side in Manhattan, and we are going to now walk in that direction, which looks like it's south because the map is set up with the west on the bottom instead of the left. But that's okay. Just rotate everything, and you will understand that we're going to be walking west or east. I mixed everything up. Ignore me. East, but kind of a little bit south as well. I believe. Mostly east, but a little bit south. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of where I've walked. This is Kent Avenue. Kent Avenue continues in that direction, and then you get to kind of the west edge of Williamsburg, which used to have all these, you know, like art spaces and warehouses and stuff, because I guess there were a lot of industrial warehouses here for a while, and then that ended, and the neighborhood was in a bad spot, and then, you know, the usual cycle happened. The artists came in, and the artists were cool, so the people with money but no talent came in to hang out with the artists, and then the artists left because they couldn't afford it anymore, and that's where it's at right now. Giando. Yeah, so this is like, I don't know, where things happen, if you know what I mean. Actually, not at all. This is probably where people just have a nice dinner, of course. Oh, it's Crossy's Counter. All right. So now we got quite a ways to go. There's no way we are going to finish this walk today or come close, but we're gonna just walk along Rossi's Lounge. I just want to show this. We didn't get a chance to really see it from the other side when we were walking past just now. That's an old school joint. Yeah, so, you know, we'll just keep going, and then the light will fade, and it'll get cold, and we'll get depressed, and then we'll end the recording. We are not quite in, but we are close to an area where many ultra-Orthodox, very Orthodox anyway, Jews live, and they have the special balconies and the ropes. Very observant. Some neighborhoods, or some blocks near here to the right, you know, you walk in down the street, and you really will almost only see Orthodox Jews on the street. That's where we were just a few minutes ago. Up there, and there's a runner. Whew. Okay. I honestly I really am taken aback by how comfortable I got to feeling at one point on that bridge. I don't think I've ever felt that comfortable on that big a bridge before. Good for me.
This way. This way.
We're very close to a very famous steakhouse, the name of which I forget, and I've never been to it. But it's like the famous Brooklyn Steakhouse. You probably know what I'm talking about, especially if you're a New Yorker yourself. I just don't really get the appeal of steakhouses in general. I've been to some decent ones. When I've been a meat eater, I kind of go back and forth between being vegetarian, pescatarian, carnivore, vegan at some times in my life. But anyway, even when I've been, in my most just like full carnivore phases, I don't get that appeal. I like many meat preparations, but a steak just seems to me like about the most boring and bland thing that you can do with a piece of meat. It's like the missionary of carnivore life. It's the Williamsburg Savings Bank. That's what this building is. That's why it's so fancy. Peter Luger. That's what it is. That's what it's called. There it is. The Peter Luger Steakhouse. It should be easy to remember because it's like the pistol. Well, as you can see, it's very, very popular. Many people in there waiting for their table. I didn't realize it has been around for that long, since 1887. I mean, that's impressive. Like, how many restaurants? That's a restaurant that's been around for like 130 years in the United States. Now, I understand in Europe there's probably some that have been around for hundreds of years, but still probably not that many. That's just like 5 generations, 4 generations of people. I wonder how their menu has evolved over such a long period of time. Like, not even the prices. Yeah, sure. Let's say the prices, there was like a quarter for a steak or something at some point, but like, how have the recipes and the dish selection evolved? What sides used to be popular that are no longer popular, and vice versa? So I never lived around here, or I have never lived around here, but I did used to go to a WeWork not too far from here. It was in that direction near Bedford Avenue, L-stop, so not that close to here, but walkable. And when I went there, I used to go to I would work there, and then I would go to the Blink gym over here. So I've spent a lot of time near this intersection. That's not counting all the other times I've been here from just walking around, exploring. If we were to go in that direction, that would be like going towards the Metropolitan L station, kind of in between the Metropolitan L and the Bedford L. Bedford L is more over there, Metropolitan is a little bit that direction. A kind of young people who are not maybe super rich but have some money type of playground for lots of coffee shops and bars. Few Asian restaurants, Apple Store, you know. It didn't used to be like that, as I mentioned, but that's what it is now. And then if you were to keep going north in that direction, then you're kind of going towards Greenpoint or Eastern Greenpoint, and then further north you're gonna start trying to get into Queens. Kind of around, I think around Long Island City, maybe a little east of Long Island City. But that's what's going to be happening. Now you might run into some water, you might need to go east a bunch to find yourself a bridge you can go over, but that's the general. Yeah, this is the Blick I used to go to. I used to really kind of in my earlier days of running, when I was mostly running on the treadmills inside, and I like Blink. It's they got everything you need at a reasonable price. Many convenient locations. Honestly, I think, you know, if you live in a city like New York, I don't know that there is a city like New York, so let's say if you live in New York, especially if you live in Brooklyn, where so many of the Blink locations are, it's almost worth it to just have an all locations membership. As long as, let's say as long as you go a few times a month. But mostly just have it for bathroom access in so many different places in the city. Free bathroom access, free shower access, honestly. You know, so you could go for a run from, and it doesn't have to be a loop. You can go for a run outside point A to point B being B for Blink Fitness, and then you get to the end of your run, hop into the Blink, take a shower, you know, get out of the shower, dry yourself off, put some gel in your hair, some cologne, and you're ready to go get to the bitches. As they say. Unless you're Tyrone, but it'll be all right. The Russian word for eau de cologne is eau de cologne. There are actually so many words in Russian that are loan words, or really, you know, I wouldn't call them loan words because I don't think Russians ever plan to give them back. But steal words from French, from English, and other languages too, I think. German, probably. There's a constant like bickering in Russian culture between, oh, you gotta keep Russian pure, to keep Russian pure, you can't use all these stolen words. Meanwhile, quote unquote pure Russian has like 400 words that were just stolen like 200 years ago, so they no longer sound like stolen words. I love it. I think Russian is just like a Katamari language. Roll everything up, man, in the big ball of Russian language. Unlike the Broadway in Manhattan, and to a lesser extent the Broadway in Queens, I'd say the Broadway in Brooklyn doesn't really change character that much along its route, at least in terms of level of prosperity slash fanciness. It's a little bit tonier and fancier right where we started, but it never gets like full-on luxury at any point. And it's gonna get a little rougher towards the end, arguably kind of rough-ish. We're not gonna get to that part of it today. Just a little preview. Eventually, we're gonna get to a major train hub in eastern Brooklyn called Broadway Junction subway hub, where the L train, the J train, and the A train all come together. The L from above, the J from the middle. This is the J, running along Broadway the whole way. The M also runs along this route, as you can see we're at Hughes now. The M also runs along this route for a long time, but then turns northward at Myrtle Broadway, which we'll get to in not too long. Myrtle is a large avenue that runs more north-south. Not really north-south, fully more like northeast-southwest, but anyway, it's a big intersection, a lot of commercial activity there, a lot of people on extremely heavy drugs, looking like zombies these days. A lot of hipsters. A mix. But anyway, that's where the M turns and proceeds north along Myrtle. Kind of towards Queens, towards Ridgewood, beyond. But the J keeps going east along Broadway, and then the A is coming down from, or you could coming up from Bullock. From the A runs along Atlantic Avenue, which is to the south. You're seeing some Orthodox guys with the large round hats. Oh.
Bubblegum airplane.
And you see many of the Orthodox women have very uniform hairdos, hairstyles. That's because they're all wearing wigs sourced from one of just a few manufacturers who make them to same kind of specific cultural standard. Whoop. Almost lost my right ankle there to a cobblestone. It was about to be cobblestone 1000, ankle 0. But at the last minute, I got lucky. Didn't feel like waiting. So you can see some of the things that can be purchased inside. There's a burger, beef patty, croissant sandwich, bagel, egg and cheese. You know, all the things that you'd expect, really. This is a pretty typical bodega window display. But I'm actually gonna stop the recording for a second. So, welcome back. Needed to replace the battery actually. Right as I decided to go get that cup of coffee, my battery ran out, so it was kind of perfect timing. This is Lorimer. This is a train stop that I've often gone to as well. One of my favorite locations in Brooklyn, actually. The Lorimer J-Stop. badass fucking kid. That's what it says. New fun. Talk about a badass fucking kid. Wow. Damn. This is a hospital, Woodhull. I went here one time. There was a guy who was trying to shoot up, basically, in the hallway. They had him with a gurney in the hallway outside of where I was in my bay in the emergency room triage area. Yeah, this dude was just like picking at his forearm. Oh, just remember it gives me that. I would say probably if you're definitely gonna die, if you don't go to the hospital, then yes, go to Woodhull. Otherwise, I would just write it out at home, honestly. I mean, if Woodhull is your only option. Listen, I will, you know, they may have many strong doctors, very good departments here, actually. I just had a third world experience in the emergency room. And also, like, it's just like they have their hands full with really heavy duty cases. So if you're just, you know, running a 104 fever, but you can still breathe, you're not sick enough for Woodhull. So what's on the menu here? We got the shrimp cocktail, the flautas, the carne asada con nopales. Nopales, I believe, is cactus. Many tasty, hearty dishes. Great, great winter food, late fall food. I don't know what Egan's and Kesey's, and there are so many things I don't know what they are on that sign. Botanica or Dudua. Wow, okay. Okay, that isn't just like a normal pile of trash from Broadway. That's a store getting cleaned out. It's messy here, but not like that. Looking for a bathroom. I could turn left and find one there, but I think I'm just gonna keep walking. A couple of places nearby that have one. Checkers. Sorry. Checkers is my favorite junk burger joint. I like it even more than Burger King. It's the only one of them that still feels cheap. sure there's a good reason for it, but you're eating junk food, so you might as well get the full benefit of at least it's cheap and good. Paying, you know, $30 for your McDonald's isn't gonna make that food kill you any slower or any less. All right, so this is the M curving away. Now this is just the J. The thing with the Z is that it's like this really rare train that I'm not even sure I've ever been on the Z. I think it would have, honestly, I think there's a good chance that it would have been discontinued by now, if not for JZ. Or like they just would have renamed it to the J. To be also the J. Or also the M, whatever line. I don't even know whether it runs on the M line or the J line. That's how rare it is. The Paragon. All right, now actually we're coming up. We're pretty close to a place I used to live for a couple years when I was in grad school for game design. 2013, 2014, 2015. I broke up with somebody I was dating at the time halfway through my grad school program, and I had to find a new place to live. Like a program house. There were a bunch of people coming in for their first year who were international, and they really didn't know New York or the rental market, and a bunch of them ended up living together with me in that house. It was a guy from Iceland, a guy from France, a guy from Taiwan, I think another guy from Taiwan, and me, and I think maybe one other person who was like a guy who was not in the program, but we just knew him. It ended up being at various times 2 or 3 different people like that. I stayed there for about 2 years. So it was like a 5-6 bedroom apartment. 2-floor apartment on Bushwick Avenue near the Kosciuszko J stop. And at the time, that was, I think, $5,500 for the whole place. So we were all paying like $900-ish or thereabouts. I was paying a little less, I think, because I don't know what. I found the place or something. Anyway, so it was kind of nuts to put that together on a pretty short notice that I managed to do that. So that's something that I'm happy about in retrospect. And we had some nice events there. I hosted some good board game, I don't want to say parties, but board game hangouts with drinking. Jolly gamer. This is back when I was drinking myself, which I was soon to stop doing. A good decision for me. In fact, an excellent decision. It's been about 10 years, a little over 10 years now, that I haven't had a drink. And yeah, if that's something that you've thought about, I recommend trying it and seeing how you feel. You know, I had anxiety that I would be boring, and also that I would feel very shy and awkward in social settings. Both those things turned out to be true, but then over time it got better, and now I feel like, well, I don't need it, either to feel comfortable or to have a personality. I'll show you a little bit of the storefronts here, close, again, as I mentioned, to where I used to live. We've got, looks like a selection of African beauty products, and then next to it, you know, kind of a hipster gallery, the free food fridge. We got the Brooklyn Metal. I didn't even notice that guy. That's from the Wizard of Oz. Never shopped in there. Or actually, wait a minute. This isn't a restaurant. This is like a little, or a shop. I don't know what it is. I confused myself just now. I really did. The Secret Tour. This is where I'm gonna do a little pause, I think, and pop in. And what I'm gonna do is I use their bathroom. Is that what I'm gonna do? Yeah. Whoa! Bro, you cannot be going that fast when you're that close to a pedestrian. That car was out of line. Okay, so actually, I think this bar used to be called Flowers for All Occasions, but they've rebranded. I don't know why, it's worse. But inside it's very similar to how it used to be, so I don't know. Flowers for All Occasions was such a good name for a bar. Secret Court is so bad, and the sign is so bad. Why? Because flowers, you could also just abbreviate. Flowers for All Occasions, you could just abbreviate it to flowers. And the full name is great. And it's an evocative reference. All the flower shops in the city. I don't know. Sometimes things change for the better. Other times things change for the worse. There's a blue Corvette. Probably shouldn't. Yeah, I will. Got mugged near here one time. On one of the side streets, two guys came up behind me. One of them put me in a chokehold from behind. Took my tote bag. I had my laptop in it with my thesis stuff. I got my stuff back like that same night because they got caught. Scary experience. But I definitely could have been a little more street smart. It was like one of these streets, you know. But it was dark. I was going to this bar called Blue Monday, where I like to work, or just hang out. I think I tried to send those guys away for a few years, which is overkill in my opinion. I wouldn't have minded slapping them around. A couple years of community service. Hanging out with grandmas every weekend. You know, just something that feels like punishment to them in the moment, so they still get punished, but at the same time helps them and helps another person. That would have been better. Sorry, I just need to check a little bit. I got a friend who just finally got her GED. I'm very proud of her. I was reminded of it because I was looking at my text message. words on the sign and I got excited.
It's 2024 and you're still acting racist? Oh, Jesus
What,
Christ.
what do you mean? Oh, you went in there and they were not nice to you?
Yeah, but it's 2024 they're still acting racist. Oh, Jesus.
That's crazy, man. I'm sorry to hear it.
2024 they're still acting racist.
Way too late for that. Thousands of years too late for that.
You know, 2024 they're still acting like it's 1834. They're still acting like it's 1834.
That's crazy, man. Have a good one. Man's having a bad day. Sorry to see it. Ooh, that looks so good. I guess I'll go to Broadway Junction today. And then that'll be perfect. Right back from there. There's a comedy spot around here that also has board game nights. It's out with a tiny cupboard. I've been curious about stopping by, but the problem is there's like nothing to do around here to kill like the 4 hours it is until they get started. There's not a coffee shop to go to. I could go to the Blink, I guess. There's a Blink near here. I think here. Yeah, there it is over there. I guess I could go there and work out for like 3 hours. But I don't have clothes to change into after that, so aside from that, that sounds fun, but
I just don't know where.
Brooklyn High School for Law and Technology. Look at these cherubs and shit. Damn.
I might schedule it in advance.
Dude, do you want to sleep at my house the night before? She asks him. Da, 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 da.
We cook it dinner, or you just put it chicken.
I've been known to put a chicken on the stove. If you know what I mean. I hope you do, because I don't. All-day lunch specials. That's good, man. Those are very reasonable prices. You saw. For New York 2024, to get a plate for like $8. I mean, you better have somewhere to take a nap afterward, because that shit gonna give you the itis. More than a full clip. Shout out Chez Noir. I used to go to this Cuban joint. It was like a Cuban diner. When I used to work on Barrack Street in Manhattan, and yeah, I would often go there for lunch and get like a steak and rice, or something along those lines, and beans. And then afterwards, listen, I know I was talking trash about steak before, but this is different. This is like flavorful steak. It's lower quality meat, but it's more flavorful. Anyway, then I'd come back to my cubicle and I'd be supposed to continue working on my stupid cubicle tasks. And, but I would feel like so sleepy, so sleepy. And I would know that it was gonna happen, but I would go back anyway. Because why? Because sleeping was more fun than doing that job. The Eliav law firm is going to get you the maximum compensation. We got the Dollar Junction on our right. They got a Christmas balls blowout going on, blowout sale. That actually reminds me, I need to get some new sheets for my house, for my bed.
Bro.
I remember when I first got black sheets and I thought this would be too much. This would be a little too far. But now I can't even imagine having other color sheets. I love them. Buy any new ones.
Like it on your phone? Your little worky work?
Do a little worky work. But you gotta be careful not to do too much. That's the second Tony I've seen Tony tag on this walk alone. The nice thing about concluding today's piece of the walk at Broadway Junction is that I'm actually going to check the map, honestly, because it could be that there isn't that much more Broadway Avenue after Broadway Junction. I honestly don't know. I don't know dishonestly either. Yeah, so actually this is perfect because Broadway Avenue ends, the Brooklyn one ends at Broadway Junction, or begins. So we're gonna finish the walk today. Perfect. Beautiful. Salchipapas is just a really nice, simple dish. It's just fries with cut up hot dogs and ketchup. It's just really nice comfort food. In my opinion, you gotta really fry up the hot dogs. I'd get the fries like crispy too. And then if you wanted to add something else to it on the side, not that you really need to at all, but it could be a little cheese sauce, or it could be some pickles maybe on the side. Put some jalapeno peppers on there, honestly. It's not gonna hurt anything if you do that. Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with this neighborhood too. This is very close to where one of my exes used to live for a couple of years. And actually not that far from another place I lived, but that was more in Crown Heights. You would go to the right from here to get there. And it's all kind of close together here. If you're just down to use your legs and put one of them in front of the other for half an hour. Dun, 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 dun. What is happening in that mural? Oh, they got Yemeni coffee. I wonder what that is.
So what you gonna do? You gonna call me in an hour? The bath is by the door.
That bike network, the city bikes are really everywhere these days. They really want to track where everybody's going. I hate it. Even bikes are a surveillance mechanism now. the engine get that loud? What is happening inside the engine that it gets that loud? Especially given that the car is not accelerating. How does that work? Why does it just make sound at all? I'm sure Gemini could answer or whatever. What? Okay. Yeah, as you can see, it does get bleaker as we go further east. So a little bit more than I remembered. But you know, it's never really dire in the sense of tons of bandos, you know, buildings falling apart. There's public transit, there's cars, there's bodegas and other businesses that are open. People are walking around with their children. So it's like a normal neighborhood. But they do need better trash removal. In the Soviet Union, we had this thing called subotniki, which was a really cool thing, I think. And basically, there was like one Saturday a month or something, I think. I'm not sure. I was a kid. But everybody was kind of just expected, / maybe even required, or at least strongly encouraged by the government, by the local authorities, to like come out and help to just do cleanup together. And everybody was just, I remember in my apartment complex, we were all going around and picking up litter and stuff. I think that's great. We should have that here in the United States. Mandatory community service for all citizens. Like once a month. Not a lot. like we say here, this is the land of the free. But also, like we say here, with great freedom comes great responsibility. So, because we're the freest of all, we have the most responsibility. Look at these cool creatures. They've done a good job of painting some cool murals over here. That guy agrees. Definitely there's a good number of insane people on the streets of New York. But then, you know, most all of us are insane pretty heavily. It's just that some people's insanity is more visible, more obvious. We make accidents easy. I like their slogan, the Knights. Da-dee-da-da-da-da-da. The full moon has come out. It's a beautiful evening. And it's not even evening. This is Eastern Parkway. I used to live basically on Eastern Parkway. A couple different apartments. But beyond that, little tidbit, it is just kind of a beautiful boulevard. I should do a walk down of Eastern Parkway too, and I will. If we were to continue in this direction for a long time and just follow Eastern Parkway all the way, we get to an area where it's wide, it's got a tree-lined boulevard in the middle. Then it's got, you know, we end up getting to basically the Brooklyn Museum, the Triumphal Arch outside of Prospect Park to Prospect Park, and all of that goodness. So, that's a nice walk. Maybe we'll wait for better weather to do that walk. When I say better, I just mean a little warmer. Today it's actually very pleasantly cool. It's like not bitterly cold. It's just chilly. It makes you feel like you don't need to worry about sweating too much at any point. I'm a proud parent of a sailor, says that bumper sticker. I'm a proud parent of a sailor, says that bumper sticker. I'm a proud parent of a sailor. My child is a sailor. proud of their sailing, says the bumper sticker. And why shouldn't they be proud of the sailing their child's doing? Sailing is a noble trade and craft. A lot of birds up there. See the underside. You hear the birds? Okay. Well, that's that. That's Broadway. We are calling it, buddies. My friends. No more Broadway. I don't think. I'm gonna check the map again because I think there may be just a little bit. Just a little bit more. Yeah. There is just a tiny little bit more. And we're gonna finish up and we're gonna circle back to here shortly. So we're at Broadway Junction now. As you can probably tell, there's just a fuckload of trains everywhere screeching. Platforms, all that good stuff. But we're gonna just walk the bit of extra street over here to finish up our examination. Finish up our walk down. We're of course, nowhere near well, I would say nowhere near, but it's not like we're running out of Brooklyn right now or something. But we are in East Brooklyn at this point for sure. As you can see, all these places, they're not, in New York, they're not so big really. It's just that they're very dense. There's so many businesses. There's so many people living on every block. Communication repair center. A lot of people could stand to spend some time there. Or when I say there, I mean here. Sorry, I'm gonna just take a couple of pictures. Now this little stretch, this funky fun little stretch of Broadway is definitely one that I wouldn't be chilling in if it was after hours. This is a little bit funky schmunky. It could probably get pretty fun around here when it's dark and late. So I'm not trying to do that. I'm gonna just get to the end, turn right around, head right back. Hopped out Broadway Junction, train Aussie. I'm sorry. That was uncalled for. very pedestrian friendly, is it? Over here. It has to be said. Ah, we're a Herkimer. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out. Jamaica Ave and Broadway is where we're at. We're gonna call it. Until next time, this is Bobby for Everyday World. Bye.